My God, it's our anniversary.
Recording in progress. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, everyone, to not just another episode of Pitch Practice, the show, but this is a special, what would you call it? Special edition today. What is it, Brandon? What is today? What's special about today?
Today is our 1 year anniversary of Pitch Practice, the show.
The show, the show. And we got Laura. Hey, I'm Mark, the guy behind the Mental Marketer and the private Facebook group Funnel Building 101, and we're helping business owners and entrepreneurs just like you to leverage the power of sales funnels to build the lifestyle business of your dreams.
And you got Brandon here who helps you take that sales funnels to get found and optimize all of your digital foundation to save you money on leads.
Chicken.
And you got Inky Morales that doesn't know how to do a funnel, but knows how to convert the funnel. Hey, somebody got to convert the funnel. Focus on franchise sales. The kind of got a little bit of my spark back, realizing, okay, the reason I got into sales is because I told myself I was going to become a great fundraiser for my charity for immigrant students, raising over $10 million, which means that I have already started with that. That means I got to convert a lot of leads. And that means I got to take care of myself. And that's why I'm moving. I'm reminding myself that I got to get it together, that I got to keep moving, and that it is one transaction that leads you to the next one. And every sale is the next sale. And it is that momentum, that confidence, because selling is converting a digital or converting any sort of lead is asking for it, right? You got to go ask for the close. So that's why a couple of years ago, Brandon and I decided to do a pitch kind of practice group where we just focus on very specific books about marketing, about sales, and just in those two topics. And I will tell you, in the last 2-3 years, I have gone from a low kind of okay earner to like higher six-figure earner. So what I will tell you is training does work. You got to put in the work. You got to show up for yourself. No matter how much you pay somebody to do the work for you, nobody's going to do it for you.
Awesome. How we have come full circle. How here we are. How we've come full circle. It's let's take a year. Can you believe it's been a year? How many people can even stay consistent for a year? Would you say the majority of people can, or the majority of people won't, or don't, or just don't? What do you say?
Consistency is tough. I've failed numerous times throughout the year on a variety of projects, but yeah, to be able to do this show for a year has been pretty cool. Sometimes
Brandon, you and me are like 3 years in this thing. Let's start there now.
You
but
guys
I mean,
are a little
like
bit
for doing this, I mean, that habit and muscle was built in, 2 years prior to jumping on Zooms and recording them.
Yeah.
But to say that you've done that, I mean, it's like, okay, year's done. Let's go for year two and start growing this thing and getting more people in, either as guests or permanent residents. So we're always looking for top performing people to come on and chat with us and see how we can help them and how they can help us.
All right, that's funny you say that, because that's one of the things I want to shout out today is just some of the comments from all of you out there, and some of you that are avid watchers, avid listeners, and always give us a little bit of feedback. I want to throw a shout out to some of you out there today. Remember how we like to throw shots out? Oh, and yeah, and even you're almost through with this book. We're almost going to be going into another book, so we've got a surprise coming with that as well. I think it's great. I think 3 has just really worked well. I think us
Yeah.
three have either, at one time or another, we've all picked each other up or had to
Oh,
be picked up
definitely.
or had to been picked up
Or had to be
ourselves.
freaking punched, smacked, like get it together.
That's
Not a
kind of
bad thing. That's a good thing.
that you're right. You're right. We don't get places by ourselves, really.
And you know what? This is the ultimate accountability group. It is, you do show up even when you don't want to. Because I'll speak for myself. There are some mornings that I'm like, why the hell did I do this to myself? I want to be sleeping. But after about 15 minutes, then I'm like, damn, I'm so happy I showed up to this thing. It's like I wouldn't have missed it for the world. So it is, and it goes back to like some of those things that for me, it's like I always go back to Grant Cardone because that's who like my baseline is for anything that has to do with self success. He always goes through like, to get to love, you gotta go through hate.
Yep.
Which means like I kind of hate this sometimes because I don't want to do it. But then every time after 15 minutes of being in it, I'm like, I love it, man. I'm getting stronger at this, and you have to be willing to go through that suck period. For me, it's about the first 15 minutes when I get up, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll text them, I'll tell them I'm not coming, right? But you just gotta get through that.
You mean that thought actually comes to your mind?
Every single time without fail. And I'm not gonna lie to anybody about it. But I just, you have to push yourself. And it does build a muscle of confidence and of like, okay, good. I everything I say I'm gonna do, I'm gonna finish. And it makes you better.
Yeah, yeah. Brandon, down there looking like a teenager since you shaved off your beard.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about a year, consistency, practice. You guys have been here at least I don't know. That number has been questioned. 2 years, 3 years.
2 years at least, because I think I started consistently coming to this thing in 2021. Yeah, it's been good.
Hey, babe.
We've had some great discussions, great books. Some people have kind of come and gone throughout that time. Hopefully they're doing well with what they're doing. Everything happens for a season, or a reason, right? And
yeah.
I mean, I really don't have much to say or weigh in other than it's been good connecting every week, knowing that you have a support system there to help you and kind of share wins and losses with throughout the weeks and the months there. Since I've kind of joined up, I've been able to get a couple clients in, a couple clients leave. Easy
But
come,
the
easy
funnel's
go,
at least moving.
as they say.
Yeah. Oh, it's like yeah, I think the audience continues to grow. It's like a continual uphill growth, uphill trend. Going up, going up, going up. And that's the difference between it's funny, you said it, Laura. It was funny. I was listening to you talk right at the beginning, and you were talking about Laura in the beginning and then multi-million-dollar Laura.
Well, at least heading in that direction.
but that was interesting how you said it, and that's what we got into in this book today. Did you realize that?
Sure.
Some of the discussion today, well, some of the chapters that we read, these chapters go by so quickly. So we're only going to be on this book maybe
one more time. Just one more time.
1 or 2 more weeks. Depends on how fast we can get through this book. There's just so much material to get through here. I think it's like no, but But yeah, that's just some of the points that were made in our reading today about you know, causing an identity shift in someone. And that's what separates great speakers or even great presenters from those that don't. I think though that was some of my really biggest takeaway. I think this was probably one of my favorite parts of the book, uh, the way they described coming into a presentation and leaving out a different person and how to communicate that to an audience. Uh, it brings back always I think about speakers that affect me, and I have experienced it firsthand. I think that's where my I think where that's a little bit of my belief comes in when I'm reading the book, is because the I've been in the room and experienced the same experienced that transformation, meaning coming into a speech feeling one way and then uh, listening to the speech. And as I'll say here, I'm just gonna quote one of the quotes from our chapters about shifting identities, and it said, "Content allows for epiphany, but your application allows for capability." Do you believe that, or do you disagree with it, or you don't like it, or you like to? It's okay. Maybe, yeah. What are your thoughts about that, Brandon?
I mean, the content definitely opens the mind up for the possibilities. And anytime that I've, I guess, spoken on live or anything like that, I know that I have always probably given too much instead of, I don't know how they explained it, but overshared, I guess is the best way to put it. And there was nothing transformative about it. Like I didn't give anybody an epiphany. So, I mean, I guess that part, reading that gave me that aha moment to then go back and rethink what I'm going to be doing in the future as far as my 5-minute perfect webinars, and if I even decide to do a full-blown webinar, which I mean it doesn't scare me. It's just the thought of all the work that has to go into it to build it, test it, speak it, and then go from there. I mean, you hear it all the time. Like, you got to do events, you got to do events, you got to do events. Like, yeah, you got to do events, but do people
Or is
really?
that like a show up?
Yeah.
But Russell says, do a perfect webinar every week, every single week for a full year.
I know. I know.
What are you saying these things though?
You just do the same thing over and over again. And then
Well, I think no, what happens, why does he say do it the same webinar over and over again? Because there's a difference between one-to-one and one-to-many.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
And
That makes
and
sense.
when and one of the things that is key in your speech, I think the way they explained it is a little bit different, but the way Russell Brunson explains it is you have to overcome your audience's false beliefs, right? And these are the things that are these are the things in your audience's minds that are holding you back.
yeah. And I guess, my false belief is that webinars are hard.
Yeah, that's my false
they
belief.
are. I mean, there's a ton of prep that goes with it, and then going from virtual then potentially live. Like for the consulting side that I need to be really growing, other than the marketing tactical side, live events are what many of the people in my groups are doing.
Mhm.
The problem that I've run into is, okay, where's the training for the live event? Where's the speech? What are they actually doing? And until I can see it done, it's very difficult to come up with it my own self, because I'm a visual learner.
What if we did a webinar, not recorded, with just us three, and we presented to each other a very specific idea? One of the things that I've been thinking about, because the book also talks about, like, you have to find specific people. Hey, Jackie, my dog came to say hi. You have to find specific people you want to serve and the specific message you want to tell them. You don't want to speak to everybody. You want to speak to one person, even though you're talking to everybody. But you want to speak out to one person. So I read a lot, and this year I've been really focusing a lot on books that are in the franchise industry, because as you guys know, right, I'm in the franchise space.
Mhm.
And I've never been able to find a book that tells you exactly how to close the deal. And every single time I've closed on a deal, I take notes. I take urgency notes. I take why they chose to go with that specific brand. I take like really detailed like nuances to better help me understand what would tip somebody over and what looks like a buyer. And I've never been able to find a book that tells you exactly what a buyer looks like, right? Because again, it's too many nuances.
Yeah.
So that's something that I would be open to talk about. Of course, I'd change the names, I'd change the brands, I'd make it different to protect people's identities and to protect myself, because it's private information. But in a context of kind of a fairy tale world, I could talk about why it worked and how that saying this specific thing, kind of like a script, got me to this, and have this specific pause and looking at the person in the face and not saying anything until they told me, okay, we're terrified, but we're going to do it. Or we're terrified. Or I don't think we can stomach it. Okay, good. Got the decision.
You know what? I'd like to see you do a webinar, Brandon. I'd like to see you do one.
About what?
Well, okay. Here is an exercise. Couple things. Okay. So maybe these are not new concepts that were discussed, but maybe they're basically new concepts. Couple of things that they suggest is about what? First of all, you should listen to your audience. Listen to your audience, and we've heard it before. They will tell you what they want to learn about. And that was one of the takeaways that I got from this as well, when they talk about a mediocre speaker focusing on the information, but $1 million speakers focus on that other person. What is it that other person is thinking? And when you make it about the other person, that's when your boring speech turns into an exciting speech, or something that's really captivating. Now, here's what I actually bookmarked a couple of spots here. So I'm going to read a little bit. I know we had our reader going, but I was like, wow, okay. So, for example, when your goal is to help people take a journey from their old identity to their new identity. When they come in, they have a specific set of beliefs anchored to their identity. That's interesting. That's interesting, because there are the beliefs that they have, and then there is their identity that they link to those beliefs. So what's really said here is that you don't really try to change their identity, but you change the underlying belief. And when you can change the underlying belief, the identity can come along with it. Well, at least according to here, because the content will give you the epiphany, and then the application will give you the capability. So as of right now, I'm going to ask you both, what do you think your audience would say? What ideas have you gotten from, like, the feedback you get from your podcast, Brandon, or what some of the feedback you get from your potential franchisees that would be something they would be interested in?
Well, I mean, as far as ideas and topics that are typically discussed in the groups that I'm in, pressure washing groups, contractor groups, things like that, a lot of the questions circle around how much should I bid this job for? And
Mm.
it's because of the nature of the work, I mean, it can be different every time. So maybe to come up with something that helps them easily calculate the jobs right off the fly. I mean, it wouldn't have to be software based, but it would just be a checklist, a set of rules, that it shouldn't be that hard to bid a property. I mean, if it's done by per square foot, then calculate the square foot times your standard metrics. And if you don't have standard metrics, well, then there's your problem right there. To develop that, but to come up with a product around it, I mean, that could be part of the story, so to speak, but that wouldn't lead to a final product that actually helps them, other than coaching and consulting them at the very end.
There you go, Brandon. Look, viral bidding secrets.
Viral bidding secrets. Yeah.
For pressure washer
Yeah.
contracts.
Oh, there, you just answered your own question. That was really good.
Good job, Brandon.
Yep. Thanks. Appreciate it.
When's the webinar?
That was awesome. That was
3 weeks
awesome.
from Neverwary.
Now we just need to put it together by listing, what do contractors believe? What is their false beliefs about bidding? And you name those out. What is their false beliefs? And then what identity do they attach to those beliefs? Like, remember in the example in the book, she talked about, first you have to, let's say people who think the earth is flat. First, you have to, give them an epiphany about the earth being round. And then once you give them that epiphany and they have a belief that the earth is round, now the next step, I don't think we've gotten to that step just yet, but it's changing the identity and saying, okay, I'm not a person on a flat, I'm not a flat earth person that's living in a round world, but I am a round world person who's enjoying living in a round world, right? So I think for me, I think I've done a few webinars before. I've written a few webinars. I've got a few webinars that are running on autopilot that I've done. And I follow the framework, though. I basically kind of follow the framework and just put in my specific information in my specific stories. And I've done 5 of them. I've done a challenge. So I followed that webinar for 5 days in a row. When is your webinar coming, Laura?
I need to figure out, I don't even have an audience.
Well, let's ask you the question.
Who's my audience? I need to figure out who my audience is. I guess my thing is, like, who's my audience? I don't want to fantasize about who I want my audience to be.
Well, I mean, to get an audience, you have to be on social media to do that. And if you're only on LinkedIn, well, then LinkedIn's your only audience.
One of my audiences could be like how to get into the sales space, how to get a sales career, how to get into the sales career, how to get a sales career. how to get into any sales position and how to thrive, and like what are like 5 things that you should always ask any buyer in any industry.
Well, you ask yourself, what are their false beliefs about getting
Yep.
into sales? What are people's false beliefs about getting into sales?
I would say one of those is that they'll have to go and knock on doors physically, and I rarely leave my house, so that's not it.
Sales is hard.
Okay.
Sales, or there's a lot of false beliefs about sales. All you have to do is listen to Grant Cardone,
Yeah.
because Grant Cardone is constantly breaking false beliefs about sales. When he talks about you think okay, maybe you think that sales, you get rejected, a lot of rejection in sales. And it takes a lot of work to be successful. Maybe he doesn't break that false beliefs, but he gives you maybe a new epiphany about going into sales. And you gotta, okay, one of his epiphanies that you said it before. Grant Cardone says that people will hate you before they love you.
Yeah, people will hate you before they love you. And hate is a way to get to love. So don't skip the hate. Bring it on.
Bring it on. That's an interesting take. You don't hear a lot of people saying that either. You don't hear a lot of people saying that. One of the other things that I think we kind of talked about, and here's one false belief that example from the book is one false belief that I often help the audience tear down during an event is I don't have sufficient money or resources to execute my plan. That's a false belief that could be common amongst a lot of fields. It says average speakers will merely tell the audience, you've got everything you need. Don't worry about it. But that won't work. The audience won't believe they have everything they need.
Correct.
Telling them, so that.
Yeah, correct. They won't. Because I mean, that's like thinking about myself. No, it's like, no, I really don't. That's why I'm here on this webinar. That's why I'm here on this coaching class.
Yes, yes. Telling them won't help them change. So instead, he'll use the 2 identities that he talked about, broke Joe and woke Joe. Or as in your case, pre-Laura and $1 million earning Laura. And use the 2 identities and to just let people know that they do have the resources. And then you list out the beliefs and excuses that the person might have. So here's a few examples. I don't have enough of a team. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money, in this case for ads. I don't have the right technology. And when the excuses begin to surface in the event, that's when you'll come out and add it. I'll say that what I did was I added a couple of things in from that I learned in this book before I actually went on stage. Man, it's almost been about a year now. But I saw a definite difference. I think what I got out of it was really how they put the focus on the audience. That's the big thing I'm getting out of it, is your focus should be on your audience and what your audience wants to hear, because you'll lose them. You'll lose your audience if you don't speak about something that is interesting to them. And I think we all know what's the most interesting topic to everyone
Themselves.
besides Brandon's clean shaven face.
It's not that clean. It's pretty stubbly. But yeah, I mean, what
It
Laura
grew in
said,
the span of 1 hour in the show.
yeah, pretty much. No, the audience is most interested in themselves, just like Laura says. People only really care about themselves and what it will do for them.
Yes, yes. To create a transformation. All right. That is, excuse me. Oh, you see how my voice is? I've got pets around the house this week, and it's just, I'm not a pet person. I love Jackie, but the hair just gets me. Uh, and I'm so sorry. Just stop me
You're
anytime.
allergic. You're
Yeah, yeah,
allergic.
yeah. But other than that, we got a couple more weeks, and then we're gonna get to another book. I know you guys are excited to find out exactly what book, but we'll be revealing that in a later episode. But got a lot of great things going on. Before we just kind of sign off, I want to recognize a few people that have posted comments around for our videos as we celebrate our 1 year together, and cheers to at least, yeah, 2 more
Another
episodes.
decade.
Another decade. Another decade. Wow. Brandon's beard is gonna be like this. But hey, specific person, what's up? I think last week, Paul Fortunato. What's up, my good friend? He was posting this. His comment came from inside the Facebook group Funnel Building 101. And he commented MDS. So I hope you got I hope you got one of the free copies of that the free copy of the digital book. I actually put the link in the comments. And also one thing I noticed about this book as well, I did a little bit more research, and there's a link to some additional online resources. It's kind of the accompanying, additional tips and trainings. Not quite as extensive as our last book that we read, Alex Hormozy, and how he had like the whole course pretty much laid out. But there are some additional resources. I'll probably leave the link down in the comments for you. We also had a few more comments that I'd like to shout out. Tracy Kelly, what's up? What's up, Tracy? Tracy's always watching. She loves us together. She loves you, Brandon.
Tracy.
You know she loves you. She knows she loves you, Brandon. And
Yes.
Laura, she's always, if she doesn't see us, she's always going to comment and say, "Hey, you guys, this is really good, really cool." So, hey, Tracy, great to see you.
Tracy.
And she commented, "Wow, going on 1 year, way to go." Sharon Jones is one of Brandon's favorite people because she's always poking Brandon about his knowledge of the Bible. And so Sharon says, "I've already got $1 Million Speaker, but you guys might like my episode with Joe too." Then she left the link to her interview with Joseph Aaron on her Bible Hacks podcast. Have you ever listened? Have you ever listened to her Bible Hacks podcast?
No.
Pen drop.
No. Well, we'll make sure, Sharon, that he gets the link, because she's probably gonna message you, Brandon. Make sure you get it. She has some really interesting guests on her show. And they're typically always around the Bible and really interesting. Maybe you'll check her out. But great to see you, Sharon. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for always watching. James Martin. What's up, James? I know James is an avid watcher and listener, and he commented, "Sup, guys? I want to say it's always great to see you, James. Thanks for always commenting. I always love tossing those ideas around with you, and we need to get you on with us one time."
Yeah, why not?
Tony Calvo, what's up? He says, "Hey, aquarium guy here. Little story, you may not know this, but one of the very first funnels that I built was for his aquarium business. We took his bland, boring website and put it into a simple landing page where we're collecting leads, and it's generated a ton of business for him, and still to this day, it's still going. And I want to say someone mentioned to me just yesterday. They said, "Oh, I love watching you," and I didn't know they were watching actually. But I want to say, "What's up, Umar? Mr. Umar Hamid. Umar Hamid is an NLP sales coach. Do you know what
What's that
NLP
mean?
is? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, he studied NLP for, I don't want to say it wrong, but maybe we could have him on the
What
on the
is it though?
selling NLP, neuro linguistic programming. He
Oh
has
wow.
he has a podcast. It's called No Limit Selling. No Limit Selling. He has he's based up in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and he's in the DC area, but he does stand-up speaking seminars. He goes in and he teaches sales techniques to a group of real estate agents or companies and corporations. So he'd be a great guy to have on. Wanted to say before we got off that we're excited to have you for another full year. Thanks for being around with us this far. And Laura and Brandon, sorry, got about a minute left. Want to just end it?
Close
See you
the
later.
deal.
See ya. Have a good week. Go close the deal.
And check out your latest podcast episode. And then if you're looking for the best franchises, there's none other person that you go to than none other than the Inky.
You gotta
Right.
find me. I'll shut you down. I'll find you the right thing. I'll close you down. I'll put you in a business.
All right. All right. That's it.
Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Bye,
Thanks for
everybody.
watching. See you next week.
Talk to y'all soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. See ya.